so much for tuning in. Today's video is another Jenga video. I've been doing Jenga videos on this channel for a year and a half, and I love them because I think they look so good. And the crafts actually look good enough to sell, at least in my opinion. I really, really love the makeup palette one. There's so many that you can sell, especially now during the holiday. And one of the best ways to sell your craft is on your own website. So I've teamed up with bookmark.com to let you guys know that if you are not tech savvy, it is totally okay because bookmark.com basically creates a website for you. All you have to do is answer 7 questions and its artificial intelligence builds the website before your eyes. And the best part is that it lets you sell directly from your website. So if you're already selling on Amazon or Etsy, you can link this all to your website and have a much more professional and clean look. And it is just so great during the holidays when you're trying to get your stuff out there and look like a legitimate store. So definitely click the link below to check out bookmark.com. Like I said, it's free and super duper easy and cool. And I really hope that you enjoy this video and stick around by subscribing to this channel. Once you hit that subscribe button, we instantly become best friends.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
And please don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know every time I post a video. Let's go ahead and get started. For both of these projects, I'm only going to use 2 tumbling tower games, and that's going to be enough for the tree and the 4 ornaments. And I'm also going to use some Gorilla wood glue. I'm going to put down some parchment paper. You can use parchment or wax. It's going to help with not having your pieces stick to your surface. And I'm going to use my square tool to make sure that everything is leveled, which is what I've done in every tutorial. So I am going to pick the pieces that fit perfectly together. I've mentioned it in all my Jenga videos. Some of the blocks are not even or they're a little broken. So once I have all my pieces, I'm going to use a popsicle stick to attach them. And I'm just going to add a small amount to the side and press them up against each other. I'm going to do each row separately so that I can get them as leveled as possible. My very first row is going to have 6 Jenga pieces, and you don't want to remove those little glue bits, you just want to sand them down later. And then I'm going to make it a little thicker by adding another row of 6 pieces as well. I'm going to add glue to the bottom and to the sides to make sure all my Jenga pieces are connecting. And I promise you I'm not going to show you me gluing these entire things because that would be a very long video. I just wanted you to see how I attach them if this is your first time watching the Jenga videos. So while this dries, I'm going to go ahead and take my square tool and start on my other row, which is going to have 2 rows of 5. Then we're going to do 2 rows of 4. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 rows of 3, and eventually we're going to switch directions. So for the very top, I just decided to build it all together. So I did 2 rows of 2. And then I stacked 3 vertical pieces to give it more of a Christmas tree shape. This is the exact same way that I stacked my advent calendar, and then I did 2 vertical pieces up top. Once everything was completely dry, or at least close to it, I decided to start sanding those pieces of glue off. As you can see, the parchment paper comes in really handy so that your pieces don't stick to your surface. And now I'm going to use a Dollar Tree sanding sponge to basically get rid of those little bits of glue. This is going to be so much better when you stain it. It's not going to have awkward little unstained pieces. So now that everything is sanded down, I'm going to go ahead and attach all of these pieces together. And I'm just going to add 1 strip of glue to the bottom of the second row and then try and center it as much as I can and pressing it in really well with as much pressure as I can so that it holds. And I'm going to let this dry really well. While that's drying, I'm going to work on my ornaments, and I've already attached 2 Jengas to each other horizontally. I'm going to use my square tool, but of course you can use a book or a ruler, anything that's straight, and I'm going to add 1 Jenga piece to the side, the other 2 on top, and the other on the other side until it creates a nice little rectangle. This is supposed to be a miniature version of those beautiful farmhouse signs that are so popular. I even created a much larger one for my laundry room, and I'll leave that video below if you're interested. I think it looks so great and I get tons of compliments on it. But once you are completely done, you are gonna have 4 beautiful ornaments. And if you're not making the tree, of course, you're gonna have a lot more ornaments since it only requires 6 Jenga pieces. So now that everything is dry and secure, I'm gonna go ahead and stain my pieces. And if you're keeping this all Dollar Tree and you can find shoe polish, you can use that. I really like using minwax wood stain. It's nice, it's cheap, and I was using the same wood stain for a good year with these small projects, but it's up to you. I used a popsicle stick to stir it really well, and then I used one of the Dollar Tree sponge brushes to apply it. You can also just use a rag and apply some and then wipe it away. And as you can see, I'm only wearing 1 glove. Please don't do that. I made sure that my hands were protected with a rag, but I did need to have 1 glove off so that I can adjust the camera. So make sure that you're wearing gloves and you're protecting your skin. And also make sure that a window is open if you're doing this indoors, because this does have a really strong scent. So after everything is completely coated, make sure that it dries really, really well. And once it's dry, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on a base. I used one of Dollar Tree's little galvanized buckets and added some pebbles to it. And I kind of regret doing this. I kind of wish I would have just used Jenga pieces as the base and made a little tree stump, but I kind of just went with it. I added some hot glue to the bottom, and I did have to bend those pieces flat so that my tree can fit on top. But I added a nice amount of glue, and once I placed it on top and it dried, it stayed perfectly. Later on, I do end up covering those little pebbles, and for the rest of the tutorial, I'm going to be using these picks from Dollar Tree. I love them. I think they look so good, and I just took them apart and cut up the berries a bit with side cutters, and then removed those little green pieces so that I can start gluing them to the back of my tree. I want to get rid of the awkward shape that the tree has, so I wanted to cover up all of the edges, and the way I did that was by adding this beautiful greenery to the back. And at first it looks a little funky, but once you start adding everything to it, it really does start to look a lot different. I covered the bottom with a little bit more of the greenery. I just couldn't decide what I wanted. And for the top, I used one of the Dollar Tree ornaments. I love these ornaments and I use them for everything. I just think they look so beautiful. I added a good amount of hot glue to the top and then just pressed my ornament in. I didn't want to add too many things to it, so at this point I thought I was done, and I think it turned out pretty darn cute. For my wood ornaments, I ended up printing out a few sayings, and this is using the font Magnolia Sky, and I used Fonto. I do show you how to use Fonto in that Farmhouse laundry sign, so definitely watch that video if you're interested. And if you have any thick cardstock, definitely Mod Podge your regular printer paper onto that. The only thing that I had was bright pink, so I decided to skip that step. I just took a pencil, outlined the shape of my wood frame, and then cut this out. But definitely consider using any type of cardboard or cardstock to make your printer paper a little thicker. I added a really thin strip of hot glue around my entire piece of paper and then pressed my ornament directly on top. If you do have cardboard or cardstock, make sure that you're cutting it out to the same size as your sheet of paper and then Mod Podging your paper onto your cardstock. So this is what the ornaments look like. To be able to hang it off of the tree, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree baker's twine. You can use any string or ribbon that you want. I flipped my ornaments over and then added 2 small dabs of hot glue and pressed my string in. Be very, very careful. When everything is finally dry, bam, I have a beautiful set of custom ornaments and a really cute wooden Christmas tree. And it only took 2 Dollar Tree Jenga boxes. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and please give me a thumbs up if you did. Also, don't forget to check out bookmark.com if you want to build your own website. And as usual, thank you so much for watching. Till next time.